What's up, DJ? So you got into this thing because it's a lot of fun. And then you learn that the business end, not always as much fun as rocking the events. We totally get it. I'm Phil.
I'm Drew.
And we are here to teach you all about ways of building, growing, and scaling your DJ business. Because, hey, this thing should be fun. And the business end should not bog you down and make you bored.
You're going to have a good time and make six figures.
Damn. What is tougher? Like DJing a club from a crowd standpoint. Club crowds versus a festival crowd versus like a bar mitzvah crowd versus a wedding crowd.
Yeah, sure. I think with clubs and festivals, you get a pretty good idea going into what your age demographic is.
Yeah.
Same is true with weddings for the most part. Bar mitzvahs, entirely different animal. You're going to have 5-year-olds, you're going to have 75-year-olds, and you've got to play and make them all feel like they were part of the celebration at some point. So you need a wide, diverse music selection. You have to be able to understand those genres, when to plug them in, and how to engage that crowd.
That's a good point about like the genres, right? Like, and I think that there's, if you're a DJ and you love dance music, but you want to get into events, like you've got to expand that, right?
You've got to expand it.
You can like there is a lot of niching down that happens in dance or when clubs or a club promoter might want to immediately know like, oh, this is a drum and bass guy, or this is a UK garage guy, or this is a techno guy. And you might be able to get away with one or two genres, but like that's all about like who exactly are you, because the audience is so much more well defined of like they want to come like if I go to a dubstep show, like I want a dubstep show.
Sure.
Like you better not sneak in some techno on me.
Right.
Or sneak no, like I'm here because I want to like rage, right?
Right.
In the same way that if I go to a metal concert and all of a sudden Celine Dion comes on,
I'm not going to be happy.
I'm not going to be happy.
You're not going to be a happy camper.
But at a wedding,
right,
or at a bar mitzvah, you might have a Blink 182 that then goes into a Celine Dion, or that needs a Frank Sinatra, that needs to be then come back with a Drake or a Kendrick or whatever it is. And so I feel like your knowledge base, so for you, like how did you start expanding your knowledge base when you first got into DJing?
That's a great question. I think it was, this is going to be a weird answer, honestly, but it was just having a huge collection of CDs, because I started as a CD DJ. So flipping through my vast collection and just seeing the various artists, or having to categorize them so my brain knew where to go and knew where to look for certain songs at certain times, that sort of kind of blew out my knowledge of genres.
Now, it's definitely not as difficult as back when it was vinyl and you had to have all the crates. Like CDs made it feel like it was so limitless with what you could have. But even still, I remember I kind of came up in the Napster era, right? So I had a lot of stuff that I had downloaded and whatnot. And I had like CD 1, CD 102, CD 237 through 238. And you'd have the big books. And I remember this is crazy, I used to print out my entire song category, or catalog. And I would have it in two versions. I had one book that was all ABC order it was like genre'd out in that ABC order based on the artist. And then I had another book that was in BPM.
Wow.
And that was it. Like I would be DJing here. I'd have a table behind me where the CDs were, and I'd have my booklets here, and I would be DJing, and then I'd look and see what song I wanted to get next. I would turn around, I'd grab that CD, pop it in the CDJ, load it up, and like that process was what made you had to move, and you had to make a decision fast.
Yeah.
Because there was no I got 10 seconds left, you need to have that song chosen as soon as that one is over.
Yeah, I would think 2 songs ahead.
2 songs ahead. Yeah, you really had to be planning that way.
Right.
And then it was like, then I remember when I finally, me using a computer, I wasn't even DJing off Serato yet. I just brought that computer so I could search through Excel.
Yes, I did the same exact thing.
So,
but back in the day, I was much more of a visual guy, right?
Okay.
I could be playing a certain song and have an idea in my mind of the next track I wanted to go to, and I'd be flipping through CDs, and I would see an image on a CD cover, and it would remind me of a song, of a track on that CD, and I'd be like, that's the one I'm going to go to.
No way.
Simply visual, yeah.
That's cool.
So the transition going from CDs to MP3s, it took my brain a minute to sort of like figure that out.
I'll be honest, like I'm a Serato guy. I like having my screen, make fun of screen watchers, whatever, but like I don't love scrolling inside
I never
I don't like the
never
scrolling.
Do it.
I like
never do it.
I'm a planner. You've seen my crates.
Sure.
Like my crates are very nerdy. Like I like doing a lot of prep ahead of time. I don't like to pre-plan my sets, right? I don't want to pre-plan my set, but I do want to plan so that I have freedom in those moments when I'm DJing. And so
you're not going to plan it out minute by minute, but
No.
you'll build a crate and go, I know this is the direction I want to go in.
And so much so, like, we laugh, like, we'll DJ events together, and we're fighting over which hard drive we're going to plug in.
For sure.
Because, like, I want my hard drive.
I know my crates. You know your
I
crates.
and, like, I don't know your crates, and I'm like, why can't I find one? You know? And but so much of that, I think, comes from the wanting to make those decisions, like, in that moment, wanting to feel the event, not wanting to just be like, oh, well, I knew I played this
Now
song
it's
with
time to
that
play this
one, and
one.
now it's
Yeah.
exactly, like, I don't want it to be the same experience
You gotta
over and
feel it.
over.
Yeah.
And that's also the quickest way to burn yourself out is playing the same party.
For
right?
sure.
Doing the same party over and over and over again with this different people. There's certain things you learn, and there's tools and tactics that you pick up over the years that you know this normally works. Like I laugh, I've got to retire. I've been doing the turn down for what into never gonna give you up for way too long now, and I gotta release it, but it still kills. It's still, you know, but it's like I think there is some. It is interesting just to think of like where we started with CDs and how we had to sort, and now everything is right there. You know, for me it was like my mother always had the like compilations tapes.
Oh, those are great, man.
So like the
those
50,
billboards?
Dude, all of those. Like built like the top 20 of the 50s, the top 20 sock hop songs. And
Heck yeah.
so I think for
Those were
me,
great, man.
like it's interesting because like I feel like I have a pretty wide range of like from the 50s all the way to now. I know a lot, and I know a lot of artists. I know a lot of artists' best 3 songs. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know the whole Prince catalog. I know the 4 I'm probably going to play.
Sure.
You know? And so, like, there is... But, yeah, man, the compilation tapes were always a super helpful thing for me of expanding, like, the music. And even now, dude, I was listening to classical this morning. Like, I was just in a mood where I was like, dude, I just want to cook my breakfast and sit here and listen to some classical.
Yeah, you got to have an appreciation for like a wide range of music. If you're going to be a great DJ, you have to understand great music, and there's great music in all genres.
And dude, nothing kills me more than when a song comes out and people are like, yo, this new track is out, and you're like, that's from like '92, man. Like that is a complete ripoff. Dude, one of the coolest things I ever had, I'll never forget. I was DJing a wedding for a guy that worked in the music industry, and he gave me his request list of all of the like what he wanted played during cocktail hour. And I'm playing his cocktail hour mix, and then all of a sudden Eminem's My Name Is comes on. And I like freak out. I'm halfway across the room and I go running. And right when the verse is supposed to cut in, there was no verse. And it was the original sample.
Oh,
And
interesting.
all of the songs in his playlist were all songs that were very, very heavily sampled hip hop
Very
tracks. And I was like, oh, dude, that's super cool. But I'll never forget my panic and feeling like Eminem, My Name Is, was about to drop in the middle of people having champagne and caviar, you know? Tell me this one.
Yeah.
How do you handle annoying song requests?
That's a great question. So, if it's a great song, I'll say, that's a great song. Thanks for that suggestion. I'll put it in my prepare. I'll play it immediately if it fits what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I'll put it in the prepare field. If it sucks, I'll say, man, that was a great song, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they buy it. Even today, when they know, it's like,
Yeah, I feel like it's like a we're all doing the dance and we all know I'm lying. like we're like, well, you could just download it. It's on your phone. It's on your Spotify. You can have it. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have it. I don't have it edited.
yeah, right.
That's the good thing about kids parties.
Right.
Is you
I have
go
a
like,
clean version.
I don't have it clean. They're like, it doesn't swear. I go, Katy Perry definitely swears in the middle of that song. No, it's like, there's not, I get so annoyed when an annoying person has a great song request. Like, I'm like, I don't want to. You're like, damn it, that's gonna crush right now, and I don't want to play it. I'm gonna play the B-52s first. But no, it's. I think requests are. Requests are very interesting because, look, there are times where I'm like, dude, I'm doing my thing. Like, I don't want to be bothered. But I will say, actually, a lot of times, people, if you trust that people know their friends. And if the song isn't that out there, I'm always a little bit more willing to take a shot on a song. I feel like we were at an event recently and some kids had a little bit of an interesting request. It was something from like the 50s, and it really didn't. It had the potential to really kind of kill the mood, and I guess we could argue it maybe did even a little bit. But I feel like sometimes it's worth having the people that you're there have a good time, regardless of, maybe it's not and this is something to think about as a DJ. It might not be the party that you would want to have, right? It might not be the party that I would throw if it were my own party, but we are there to help people with their event go off the way that they want it to go. And,
totally agree with that.
And it's like, there are a lot of times where I'm like, I don't love the song choices or their requests all the times, or I don't like, maybe I would advise against the flow of an event. But also at the end of the day, I have to appreciate that we're being hired to come in, and sure, we can give them our expertise, but it's their party. It's not my party, and I don't have to take ownership of it in that way.
Sure.
And so there are times where it's like, if they really want the song, maybe I'll play it, knowing I have another song I can transition to quickly if it completely dies.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would rather be that type of a DJ than the guy who turns my nose up at every request, or just because it's not my idea, I don't want to play it.
Yeah, again, we talked about reputation. You don't want that reputation because that will follow you, right?
Yeah.
You'll get known as that guy, that snooty DJ who won't take requests.
Yeah.
That's another way I handle requests. It's depending on where I am at the event, right? So, and I've been surprised 100 times, thinking like this kid keeps hitting me with the song, and I'm like, this thing is going to be terrible. Like I'm not, And then they've come up to me the fourth time, and I'm like, fine, I'll play the thing, and it freaking kills.
Yeah, which is always surprising. There's times where I'm like, why do you need that? Go in the bathroom and listen on your phone, man. Like, there are times where people will be so adamant about this one song. You need to hear this one song, to where maybe I'm like, God, are they just sitting in the corner waiting for their one song to come on? Like, dude, there's a whole party happening you're missing. But yeah, then every now and again, man, someone will have a request and it'll crush.
Yeah.
I was doing a wedding, and I was doing a wedding one time, and someone came up and they wanted Metallica, Enter Sandman. And I remember being like, dude, this was when I was still back in Michigan. Oh man, we're talking, 18, 19 years ago. And I remember being like, look, dude, I love Metallica, but I can't just drop Metallica in the middle. And he's like, I got to at least check in. And so I actually went and I checked in with the groom. And I was like, hey man, one of your buddies wants Metallica. He goes, oh dude, that'd be awesome. He's like, yeah, it was our fraternity song. Like, yeah, rock it, we'll love it. Played it, brought the roof down, they loved it. I did a party with you one time where we ended a wedding on Chop Suey.
Oh yeah.
By System of a Down.
That's right.
And it was like, and that's something I would never do on my own as a DJ. But when you've got a bride and groom, or kids, and that's their song.
That's their jam.
That it's not about me in that moment saying like, no, you need to listen to Journey one more time.
Yeah.
It's like, play what people want. And a lot of times, like you said, people will surprise you, and then you end up looking like the hero.
Sure.
You look like the hero.
On the flip side, there's going to be that time where they come up to you, play this song, we're all going to love it.
Never trust that. Never trust
that.
Everyone wants to hear it. Everyone wants to hear this.
This is going to crush. Everyone's going to love it.
Little guy,
Trust me.
You've been sitting at the table by yourself for the last hour. You don't know what everybody wants, dude. That's so funny. And it's true. Sometimes when I sit with clients, I'll actually ask them, and it's more of a rapport building than actually like that I need it. But I'm like, is there anyone that's going to be at the party that if they make a request, I should ignore it? Like jokingly, I'll be like, is there a goofy uncle or a crazy? Most of the time.
Are you surprised the amount of times I go, yes?
Yeah, there's always one.
Yes.
It's always, like, oh, my Aunt Mary.
Yes.
Like,
don't listen to a thing she says.
Exactly. Or you'll get, or that question will be, oh my God, my cousin is going to try to get on the microphone.
Oh yes. Like, please do not let him.
Exactly.
At all costs.
And so that's an important thing, because that's a good question. It helps you with some information, but it's a different question that lets the people, your potential client, know, hey, I'm thinking about you at every stage.
Here's
all
a
these
scenario that could occur.
Right?
Let's talk about that.
I've done this before. I'm coming from a place of experience. I'm not just asking you questions because I have a checkbook and I need these things. I genuinely want you to have a successful event.
Right.
So I want to just get some information. Are there artists that you definitely don't want to hear? Right? I've told people, like, hey, sometimes the songs that you don't like, I understand the age group and what the party is. I could probably sit down and really crush it in 10 minutes if I needed to. But what would really help is sometimes it's more important for me to understand, what do you not want to hear? Are there certain genres you don't like? Are there certain artists that you don't like? And people, sometimes a lot of times you just ask a question that someone's not expecting, lets them know, like, oh, this person is thoughtful about this process. And that's what you're also doing, right? If we're in a selling process, you're not always going to talk to a client and they're just going to hire you. You might be one or two or three people that they're talking to. And a lot of times, because people don't know better, they're using price as their golden metric. And unless we operate inside of those meetings and we showcase that price is not the only metric that matters when hiring a DJ, if we're just going in there and you give a run-of-the-mill experience and conversation with someone, they're not gonna know that you do anything above and beyond somebody else. But if you're in there and you ask caring questions, you're expressing things that could go wrong, things, have you thought about this, trying to help them understand that you're not just there to push buttons, but you're there to be able to help this party run well, you are now, without even having to say anything, you are showcasing that you have more value to add than just hitting the play button. And I think that is part of what allows somebody to then, after the fact, be like, hey, I know that Phil and Drew they're more expensive. It's going to be a couple $100 extra, but that's who I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that I feel comfortable rocking my party. And that's, in sales, right? In sales, and I'm sure you guys have heard it before, but in sales, they always talk about people have to know you, then they have to like you, then they got to trust you. And until you get them through that process, it's very hard to get a sale, right? So they got to know that you exist, they got to now like you, and then they got to trust that you're going to deliver on the service that you're providing. And the quicker that you can get new people to that trust phase where they actually genuinely trust that you're going to show up and do what you need to do, you're going to get more sales.